Hey guys, Diabolic here. Today I'm going to show you a League of Legends champion, a new champion who is coming to League of Legends who is already out on public beta environment. His name is Thresh, and he is a demon jailer, I think. In life, at least, he was a jailer, and in death, of course, he is a jailer for the damned and for souls. So, I'm just going to get down to the point here. His passive is called Damnation. He collects souls from dead enemies. Minions have a slight chance to drop a soul, and of course the bigger minions, siege minions, have a greater chance to do so, and I think they do it 100% of the time. As for champions, they will drop stronger souls, and they will also drop them all the time. And he gains a bonus of armor, magic resistance, and ability power for each soul that he has. At level 1, the souls will count at, I think, 2 point something or 1 point something. And as you go up to, say, level 4, they count for 0.9, level 6, 0.4, and so on. His Q is called Death Sentence. The passive for his Q deals magic damage with each hit. The damage raises with the amount of souls Thresh has collected. So if you collect a whole lot of souls, it maxes out your Q, and as long as you're not attacking, you will get a passive, which is really good. His Q also obviously deals bonus magic damage on each hit you do with it. Along with his souls added to the so you also do. He has a secret passive kind of thing with his Q, whereas if you were to hit someone with it, it will deal extra damage on top of your extra damage if you do not attack for a certain amount of time, which is like 3 seconds without attacking, you gain a buff, and each 3 seconds you obviously gain another buff. So let's talk about his active Q. Grabs an enemy, pulls them towards himself, or leaps to them. So you grab an enemy, kind of like Nautilus or Blitzcrank, and you pull them towards you. One heave and then a second heave pulls them completely. Or you could just latch them on, pull them, and continue pulling them in while you're dragging them, sort of like Skarner. So it's a bit like Skarner, Blitzcrank, and Nautilus. And another good thing about his Q is when it latches onto someone, you can activate your Q again and pull yourself towards them, which is really good if you want to get somebody slowed, if you want to allow your allies to catch up, or you can just knock them into your allies. And I'm going to tell you how. His E is Flay. Knocks nearby enemies in the direction of your choice. Cast forward to push, cast backwards to pull. So, if you were going to, say, want to knock them towards your teammate, you would have to be casting it backwards from the way that you're looking at someone. Say, if you're chasing someone, someone is on the left and you're on the right, what you're going to do is cast it backwards and it will pull them. And then, you can use your Q and pull them even farther. On top of that, his ult is called the Box. Thresh creates a box with 5 spectral walls around him. Every enemy champion who walks through a wall, one single side of the wall, will be damaged and slowed, but will break the wall that they step through. Once one wall is broken, remaining walls deal half damage and slow duration is reduced. The original slow percentage is 99% for 2 seconds. So, say a whole team of enemies were to walk in one side. That's 5 sides, 5 people walk in. The first person to hit the wall will obviously take more of an effect than the next person, and so on. And I think the last person to hit the wall gets it for probably 0.5 seconds, but they do get slowed, however. On top of your pull, your push back, your pull back, your W, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and your ult, you will be able to do massive ganking. You're going to be good with ganking. You're going to be good ADC. He can ADC very well, actually, depending on your AP or AD. You can play him either way, because he is his abilities really don't do a whole lot of damage. He is really good with AD simply because of all his stacks that he has. He does extra damage from his Q. And on top of that, he is good at deflecting armor and magic. So, let's talk about his W. His W, you may have seen it if you've seen any videos or heard that he uses a lantern, or even seen the picture that he is right here. He uses a lantern, and the lantern, you throw it, and it is a optional team puller. What it does is, if someone clicks on it once it's sitting there, there will be a ray of blue light going from the lantern to you. The lantern will basically be looking at you, and the enemies will know exactly where you are. But they do not see you. However, they see a beam of you, and the reason I set this first is so you wouldn't get discouraged later. Because what he does is if somebody clicks on it, it teleports them directly to you, or pulls them directly to wherever you are. So if you cast it, flash through a wall, one of your team is probably going to get out, and during the time that your lantern stays on the ground without someone clicking on it during a team fight, it will shield your teammates. Now this thing is good. At, say, level 1 of Dark Passage, it will give you 40 plus maybe 26 of your AP protection is what it is. It pretty much shields based on your AP, and it's kind of like barrier. So if you were to grab a barrier and that, then your team would be set. So he is really good with a team fight. He's also good by himself. He can get out, and he can make sure no one touches him. So overall, Thresh is a good option for someone who wants to sort of take on a nice little support, but maybe they're not used to it, and they still like to be there helping themselves instead of helping others. But he is very good with ganking as well, and that might spice some things up, because Thresh is a little bit unique in all of his abilities. Of course, there's been people who can push and pull, but none, however, who can shield allies, get allies from one place to the next, slow as much as he can do, and push and pull. So I hope you enjoy playing Thresh as much as I have, and that you all see that he is probably the best support you can play for people who do not want to be that much of a support. Obviously, you're going to have to be there, and he also doesn't require a whole lot of items at a low level. Thank you, and I'll be making more of these videos shortly. Also, I forgot to mention that Thresh is also a good AD, simply because he is at a ranged, and he's going to be able to hit everyone, and I might have touched on this earlier, but he doesn't need a whole lot of his ability power, because his abilities do not do all that much damage. He is just there for the team fights mainly, and to help others, push and pull, and slow. So if you can get AD while getting a lot of mana with him, then that would be very good, but you need slight AP simply because his ult duration and his W's protection. And I hope you enjoy him once more.